it still all exists. None of it disappears. Money is not actually responsible for any of it. Money or currency has no inherent value in and of itself. Money does, gold, gold has inherent value. But even gold compared to food, when you're hungry, you'll trade gold for food any day. You'll trade gold for food any day. And see, that's part of the control mechanism, is that the powers that be know that. They know that that's ultimately what comes out. So the transfer of wealth is continually happening. It's continually happening. It's happening all over the place. So number one, you've got the Federal Reserve, for example, which is doing some of the best business in the entire world. I mean, come on, how can you do a better business than that? That's great business. They're just printing paper and they're charging 1,000, 100,000 times the value of that process. They're making a $100,000 profit on every dollar that they print. $10,000 profit. I don't know the exact facts on that, but it's a lot. It's a huge, huge, huge profit margin. Right? But that's just the step one. That's then being traded, to other countries, like I said, for their gold, their chocolate, their coffee, their silk, their copper, whatever it is, the things that have real value. And then those people are now being depleted. And then it's coming back into this economy, and guess who then sells it? The Walmart sells it, the Home Depot sells it. It's the big corporations that sell almost everything. So you've got the super corporate conglomerates that are creating it all to begin with. They're buying it all and they're reselling it all, and they're making the profit. Even in our economy on a day-to-day basis, the major profit is still going to the big corporations. Because if you work at Walmart, it's not a very lucrative job. I mean, you barely make enough to pay your crappy apartment rent and to buy some real crappy food. If that's your job, if you have no one to support you, if that's your life, you're barely getting by working at Walmart. And what is Walmart doing? They're one of the most profitable corporations in the entire world. Right? So what I'm saying is that they're already, just in our daily economy, sifting and filtering the major profits. But it's happening way more than that when you look at the economy structure, what I just told you about, which is, the big banks coming in and just taking away all that value. So if you're paying that mortgage, you pay $100,000, $200,000 on that mortgage, and then it's stolen from you, because it is stealing. They're not rightfully and lawfully taking it. They're actually stealing it from you. They're stealing it from you, and you're allowing them to do it. That's the only reason it works, is because you allow it to work. You let it happen. If you actually know what's going on, you set yourself up properly, you engage the system properly, you create a proper record, you're going to have no problem, and it can't happen. And ideally, as we get further down the line, and as you become more and more versed and educated in this, I can begin to really show you how that really works. The fact is that I can show you how to discharge any debt. Any debt that exists, I can show you how to discharge it. As long as it's not, like I said, the debt that you owe the neighbor for the eggs. If you go to a neighbor and you borrow some eggs, or if you go to your mother and you say, hey, I need you to, give me your gold necklace, because I've got nothing. That's a different reality. What I'm talking about is any type of mortgage, any type of debt or loan that exists with any bank is totally dischargeable, because they created the credit from you. You created the credit. It was your value that created the credit. They were just the transaction, the medium of transaction that allowed that credit to come into existence. Right? They put up no value. And all you have to do is prove that on the record. And it's actually very easy. It's very easy to prove on the record that there was no risk, that they made no loan, that they put up nothing. And as soon as you establish that, as soon as that becomes true, bona fide fact in law, now they have no claim. And who has claim? Of course you do. You're the only man or woman that has claim, because you've been living in that house. You're the only one with claim. You have more claim than anybody else because you have lived there. No one else has. Not to mention that you've actually paid. But even if you didn't pay anything, you still have more claim than anybody else. And it was still paid off. As soon as you signed the loan, it was paid for. It was already paid for. As soon as you signed the loan, it was paid for. I'm not talking about theory. I'm not talking about possibility, hypothetics. I'm not talking about, this is a fact. This is the way it works. This is what happened. As soon as you signed that promissory note, the house was paid for. It already got paid. It already got paid for, and it was because of you. It was your credit. You didn't steal anything, you didn't swindle anything, you didn't scam anything, and you don't owe anything. It was already paid for. You're just paying way on top of that, way over that, because you're ignorant. Because they conditioned you that way on purpose. And that's why they don't teach you any of this stuff in school. Right? This stuff's real. And obviously, once you find out the truth of this, you realize that just this 1 hour is actually more beneficial than anything you ever got in school. Just this 1 hour. And it's not even there. It's not even there. It's not because the information isn't available, it's because it's purposefully not there. You have to ask yourself why. Why is that not there? Because this is obviously important. Right, so this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. And this will change everything. This will change everything. This will change everything. Just imagine if all the people that had a mortgage right now were to realize this power and to realize this truth. Just imagine what kind of value that would put back into the economy, into the hands of the people. Just imagine all the millions of people that have already lost their houses in foreclosure. Not very long ago, just in California, there was 3 million houses in foreclosure, just in California. There were so many houses that had already been foreclosed upon that they only had 1/3 of the houses that were foreclosed up on the market because they didn't want to flood the market because then it would make everything too cheap. So they just foreclose on these houses and just let them sit there for years. No one's even using it. They kick a family out of a house and then they just board it up and just let it sit there for years. That's real. That's happening. Right? It's not happening to me, but it's happening to my people. And this is the information. This is the information that frees everybody from that reality. It can't ever happen again. If you know what I'm talking about, right? And it's up to you. I have all the information, but you don't have to come to me to get it. There are books, there are websites, there are people out there that have this information. And you can get it. The question is it important to you? You have to ask the question. You have to ask the question, you have to ask the question, you got to go down the rabbit hole. It's the only way. What I'm telling you is real. What I'm telling you is facts. What I'm telling you changes the whole paradigm. It changes the whole system. And now there's this really amazing thing. Now I'm really interested to see what happens here. You know, because I do feel like we're in this golden age. You know, we're in this amazing awakening and transformative period of our global species. And so I have a lot of hope for that. Yet simultaneously, there's all sorts of things that have already happened to test this exact same thing. 9/11, for example. 9/11 happened. 90% of American, citizens believe that it was some men in caves that outsmarted our government, out-technologically advanced our government, and snuck in through the most heavily guarded, airspace in the whole United States, flew around for hours all out of pattern and all crazy, and actually ran into the buildings without us knowing. And people actually believe that. People actually believe that when those towers fell, that they fell because of the plane explosions and not because they were totally rigged with explosives way ahead of time to perfectly demolish. Right? People actually still believe that. Well, if you believe that, there is no hope. There is no hope. You can never use this information that I'm giving you right now, and you can't use any of the other information I'm going to give you either, because it's complete and total blindness. It's complete and total blindness. If you look You don't have to believe me. Just do some research. Just ask some questions. Buy a book. Look for some videos on YouTube. Look for facts about 9/11. Look for the facts. Look for the truth about 9/11. You will find them. There's whole documentaries with way more facts than any of the investigators ever provided. There were the government investigators that they ever provided. You don't have to believe any conspiracy. Just look at the facts, right? Same thing with JFK, right? All the information is there to prove and to show that JFK was assassinated by the CIA, which is a Central Intelligence Agency, which is, the government super team, right? And not only that, but check this out. There was a movie called JFK. There was a Hollywood movie. It had Kevin Costner in it. It was directed by Oliver Stone, right? The Jesuits, made sure that it came into play, and they put in all the facts there. They showed all the facts of what actually happened. It was a test. It was a test to see what will the people do when they find out the horrific truth. What did the people do? Nothing. Just like 9/11, just like Waco, just like Sandy Hook, just like all the greatest travesties that have ever happened here. It's not because of men in caves. And you got to ask the question. You got to look. If you don't, you're not going to have the power of which I'm telling you right now to be able to discharge any debt. And I'm not going to give it to you either, because you don't deserve it. Right? You got to do your research. You got to ask the questions. And we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible for our lives. So like I said, they only foreclose on you because you're ignorant, because you don't know what's happening. You're allowing them to do it. It's just like when you are driving in your car and the police officer pulls you over and you're not wearing a seatbelt and you're all terrified. You're like, oh God, I'm not wearing a seatbelt. Oh my God, I'm in trouble and I'm going to have to pay money. And oh no, I don't have my license. I'm going to get arrested, blah, blah, blah. It's just like that. You're giving them power. You're giving them jurisdiction. They don't actually have it. You're giving it to them. And it's the same thing with taxes. This is one of my favorite things to say, because there's this saying out there that's the saying is death and taxes. Right? And what that saying is that there's two guarantees in life. There's two guarantees in life: death and taxes. That's how concrete the reality and the subjectivity and the rule of taxation is on the people. Right, but here's the fact, is that the IRS is a private corporation. I mean, guys, come on. It's a private corporation, and I mean, if you argue with me about that, you're a complete and total idiot. In fact, the whole world would be better if you weren't here. Because that's a fact. It'd take you 30 seconds to find out that fact. It's a private corporation. It has no authority. It has no jurisdiction over your life. It's a private contract that you sign. In fact, you fill out an application. You fill out an application. You don't know it's an application, but it's an application. An application to pay taxes. Can I please pay these taxes? Oh, thank you. Here's my signature. That's what's happening. They don't have any authority. They don't have any jurisdiction. You're giving the authority. You're giving the jurisdiction in ignorance. You do not have to pay the IRS. There are people that have been arrested, people who have been thrown in jail, people who have had their things stolen because they didn't. I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm not saying that that hasn't happened. What I'm saying is that it's all unlawful. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that the law supports that. The law is actually in our favor. The law exists so that they can't do that. And these people obviously don't know what they need to know in order to have it be done properly. I know people that don't pay taxes. All right? It's not just me. I know people that travel between space and time without a driver's license, without a license plate, without registration, without insurance, without inspections. It's not just me. It's not very many. It's extremely, extremely rare. But it's not just me. And there are people that have been doing it for years with success. And what it comes down to is what we truly know. What do you truly know? What do you truly know? What do you truly know? Right? If you're just copying something off the internet and pasting it on a piece of paper and sending it in and hoping you don't ever have to pay taxes again, you're probably going to jail. But if you know the truth, and you make an empowered and sacred, document with your own mind, with your own willpower, with your own consciousness, and you send it to them, they're never going to talk to you again. Because they know that you know the truth. Because everything is energy and it's all in alignment. And if you're a liar, if you're a pretender, the beast will consume you like that. If you're the real deal, if you're in faith, if you're in the light, if you're in the know, the beast will just run to some dark corner where they can just eat and prey upon the weak, upon the ignorant. Right? And we may never get to a place in this world, and I don't have any attachment to it either way, we may never get to a place in this world where every single person is enlightened. Because we live in a world of balance, right? Of light and dark. And I'm not telling you you should come to the light side. You can stay in the dark side if you want. I'm just telling you this world exists. This reality exists. I'm not right. I'm not better. I just prefer it. And if you like your mortgages, if you like your taxes, if you like all the rules and regulations and privileges, if that's what you like, then keep it. Because I don't want it. And you can have as much of it as you want. What I have seen, though, is that people don't want that. That's what I've seen. Time and time again, people are complaining. I don't know anyone that agrees and likes to pay registration, to pay inspection. I don't know anyone that likes to renew their driver's license. I don't know anyone that likes being ticketed for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. I don't know anyone that likes getting a ticket for not coming to a complete and full stop at the stop sign when there was no one there. I don't know anyone that likes getting a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. I don't know anyone who likes it when the government comes and says, oh, you can't build that. You're going to have to tear it down or we're going to fine you.